There we go. So welcome everyone to the Boost Your Immune System workshop. I will be sharing some slides. I'll be cutting in and out of sharing slides because I love to see all of your faces here as well. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Melissa Deely. I am the owner of Your Guided Health Journey. I'm an integrative health practitioner and registered health coach and podcaster. My podcast is called Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call, which you can find on your favorite podcast listening app or simply from my website, which is found at yourguidedhealthjourney.com. So I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules and being here with me today. I'd love just to start us off, type in the chat where you're tuning in from, because I love meeting people from all over the world. So type that in. I see Aditi from New York, Sam from Virginia. That's awesome. Connecticut, Vancouver Island, Vancouver, Melbourne, Australia, Toronto, Pemberton. That's awesome. I love it. Literally all over the world, the power of Zoom. So thank you so much for all tuning in. I have a question for you all as we start out. How many of you have spent too much time this past year worrying about getting COVID-19 or some other illness? You can just put up your hand if that's you, that concern of getting sick. What can we do when we get sick from our bed? Not nearly as much as when we're healthy and full of energy and vitality, right? The problem is right now, it's in the media constantly, a barrage of information about hospitals filled with sick people. The media stories are always focusing on the drama because they know your brain is charged with keeping you safe and therefore on alert for danger or drama. And our brain does this because it needs to keep us safe, and it knows that it can keep us safe where we're at, and it's attuned to the danger in order to protect us. The danger can be on the news, and the brain then gets sucked into the story, and that then triggers our nervous system and puts us into a state of fight or flight. And all of that fear, all of that stress actually weakens your immune system. Yes, fear and stress weaken your immune system. And so tuning into that drama on a daily basis wreaks havoc with your immune system. Did you know that just 1 minute of fear, stress, anger will weaken your immune system for 4 hours? But 1 minute of laughter will strengthen your immune system for 24 hours. That's really powerful, right? So what are you tuning into? So today I'm going to teach you what you can be doing to boost your immune system and in order to counter this fear that is all around us. And this information can literally change your health outcomes if you implement some of what I'm sharing with you. And I really hope that you do. And I also want to invite you to shut down all other distractions and tune in for an hour of self-care with me. It'll be just over an hour, I think, so that you don't miss out on any of this information that I am teaching you. And this will give you the opportunity to truly start to take your health into your own hands, not just for this fall and winter, and not just for this pandemic, but for the rest of your life. And this is information you can be sharing with friends and family as well. So please have a pen and paper handy because you're probably going to want to take notes. And you're also going to have questions. And as we go through the workshop, I want you to write those questions down so that you do not forget them. At the end of the workshop, I'm going to give you all access to a quiz that will individually show you exactly where you're at with your health today and your immune system, what your symptoms are telling you, and is that postnasal drip really seasonal allergies? And it may not be a postnasal drip for you. It might be something else. But is it really seasonal allergies? Is it really aging? Or is it an indication of something more? Something going on with your health, something going on with your immune system. So this survey will give you an all-inclusive bird's eye view into where you're at with your health. We're going to be talking about symptoms today, and understanding root cause is also very important. We have to get to the bottom of the issue, because otherwise, if we just, the issue keeps happening over and over again and we're not getting to the bottom of it, you're not truly healing from whatever is going on. So after doing the quiz, I can also help you identify root causes of what's going on for you. Your immune system really is like a muscle, and every day you are either strengthening it or weakening it. I want to help you understand what is weakening your immune system so that you know what habits you need to change and why. Because when we know the why, it is so much easier to replace an old habit with a new, better serving habit. You see, you probably don't even realize that you have habits that are negatively impacting your immune system because we haven't been taught this through our education system or our public health. And this is because, unfortunately, we have a sick care system today run by big pharma that wants to keep you buying their drugs because that's how they make a profit. They prioritize shareholder profit over human health. And so they have no real motivation to actually help you heal. Access to real information about boosting your immune system is also hard to find. It can either be there's too much and it's overwhelming and it's conflicting and you don't know what's the right information, or that it's simply not available. I know last year my mentor, Dr. Cabral, was scolded by the FDA for posting his immune boosting protocol on his website. So how does the average person busy in their lives, working, raising their family, supposed to figure this out? That is why I'm here today to share this information with you. And it's why I have my podcast, is to put that health education out there for people to access in small, bite-sized pieces. So your immune system is your body's safeguard mechanism. It helps protect you from pathogens such as viruses, bacteria, parasites to stop you getting infections, stop inflammation, illness, and disease. A compromised immune system becomes sluggish and can't do its job well. So here's one super simple habit that you might have that is weakening your immune system, and I've already alluded to it. How many of you watch the news on TV every single day? Type that in the chat if that's you. I see Val shaking her head. You can nod your head too. Are you watching the news every single day? Because if you are, that is weakening your immune system. So the first thing that you can be doing is, I'm seeing some, thank goodness I'm not, and nope. So some are saying never. So that's awesome. You guys already know this one, but again, share this with your family and friends. I see it sometimes from Janice. So the first thing you can be doing is turning off the news, or suggesting to family and friends that are tuning in hour upon hour, turn off the news. And instead you can read it. It's not that you don't get to know what's going on, but when we read the news, we're only using one of our senses. We're using our eyes, not being bombarded with the sound from the news on TV. And it's much easier to turn off when you're just using one sense, and it's not triggering your nervous system the same way when you're just using your vision and not sound and vision. Remember, I said 1 minute of anger, fear, and stress weakens your immune system for 4 hours, and it's because of it turning on that fight or flight state. And all energy is going towards the body being able to escape to safety versus the optimal functioning of our immune system. And other body systems get shut down in that state as well, including digestion, our rest and digest state, including procreation, because in those moments, we don't need to worry about our lunch being digested or stopping to have a baby. The most important thing is getting to safety. So here's what I know, that this is bigger than just boosting your immune system. This is about you taking control of your health, knowing that you and your body are working together and that you are providing your body with what it needs to function at optimal levels and be able to fend off bacteria and viruses exactly as your body was designed to do. It's also important for you to know that you have that power, the power to listen to your body when it talks to you. The symptoms that until now you might have simply written off as aging or genetics or seasonal allergies are in fact your body asking you to do something differently. And when you choose to do that, you are working with your body to boost your immune system. So another thing you can do is slow down and listen to your body instead of ignoring it and pushing through. So let's just take a minute to do that right now and do a check-in, because we can all do this anytime, anywhere. So I would just like to ask you all to just close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths, inhaling for the count of 4, exhaling for the count of 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Keep going. And as you do that, scan from the top of your head down to your toes and notice what you might be feeling. Is there a slight headache going on? Are you feeling dehydrated? Are there any aches and pains anywhere in your body? Any tingling going on? What are you noticing? And when you get to your toes, just type in the chat what you might have noticed about what is going on inside your body right now. So often life gets busy and we don't take the time to do these check-ins with ourselves and listen to our body talking to us. And I love to say that we should listen when our body whispers so it doesn't have to yell at us. So I'm hearing feeling warm and tired, but glad I did this exercise, a little bit of lower back stress. So yeah, keep typing in what you're feeling. Another saying that I love is that our body first whispers to us gently in the form of a feather. And if we don't listen, it may come along and thump us with a brick. And if we still don't listen, it might very well whack us with a wrecking ball. And none of us want that. And yet probably every single one of us knows someone that that's happened to. And so I love to work with people when we're at the feather stage, maybe the brick, so we never have to get to the wrecking ball. And if people understand that progression, it also helps you in tuning in and listening to your body. And yes, breathing brought calm, feeling calm. A little bit of tension in the neck from all the Zoom calls. Yes, there's a lot of Zoom calls happening. But yes, we have our breath with us all the time. And just slowing down and breathing can bring on that calm and start to release some of that stress. So by the end of this webinar, you will know some habits that you have that are negatively impacting your immune system, so you can change them. Why it's so important to be emptying your overflowing trash cans, and then a supplement protocol to use, which will further enhance the above steps in boosting the health of your immune system. And it's a very simple protocol. So if any of you are looking for more in that regard, then write that down on your question sheet and we can talk about it in our one-to-one call. So we don't know what we don't know until we know, right? And then when we know, what do we do with this information? So today we are going to know, and once you do my quiz, you're going to know even more and probably have more questions. And that's okay, because as I just alluded to, as part of this workshop, each of you will be gifted a one-to-one call with me. Lauren will drop the link to that in the chat at the end. And I would love to have a conversation with you. I'm not going to do Q&A here because our health is all very personal. So you can literally write down your questions and then book that one-to-one call with me to get those questions answered. And now I want to ask you to think for a moment about a day when you felt awesome, healthy, good energy. You felt like you could do anything. You were living in your power. Close your eyes for a second and just envision that version of you. When was the last time you felt that way, strong and happy? Think about how that feels. And think about how many days in the last month you felt like that, or how many days in the last year. Now think about how you normally feel. Are you feeling fatigued, brain fog, blah, trying to get it all done and somehow not managing that? How many days have you felt like that in the last month, in the last year? Type in the chat a 1 if you want more of the first version of you. I see you, Kate, you felt like that yesterday. That's awesome. And I know that you're totally on it when it comes to your health. But yes, Lauren and Denise, you want to have more days where you're living in your power and feeling amazing. We tend to forget, and I'm seeing a lot more ones coming in, we tend to forget how amazing we can feel when we spend time feeling fatigued. It becomes the new norm. I love to ask my clients, just how good are you willing to allow yourself to feel? Again, so many of us write off feeling worse as aging and accept it. The reality is we do not have to feel worse as we get older. I truly feel better than I did 20 years ago when I was in my 30s. I do not accept symptoms as aging. I recognize them as a sign and I look for the root cause so I can address them and get rid of the problem. But that is because I know that this is possible, and so many don't realize that. On another note, how many of you are maybe relying on Metamucil, taking Emergency every day? And on top of that, it's the holiday season now. So how many of you may be overindulging in alcoholic beverages, sugary sweets, not getting enough sleep? We've just got through US Thanksgiving for the Americans on, and we're heading into the Christmas season. It's a time of year when there's a lot of that going on. What is that doing to your immune system? It is easier than you think to bolster your immune system. You just need to know how. And honestly, I didn't know this 6 years ago when I was in the corporate world, but now I do because I went back to school for 2 years to become a health coach and an integrative health practitioner. And as I was going through those programs, I was thinking, I wish I'd known this before. Because if I'd known it before, I would have done things differently. But I also realized I didn't have the time to learn it. And many of you probably don't have time to go back to school for 2 years. And so that's why I love to teach this and share this information to get it out there to people. So let's jump in. I'm going to share with you 3 common problems dealing with our immune system and then 3 solutions. So the first problem is that we have 5 habits that are negatively impacting our immune system that you may not even realize. 70% of your immune system is housed in your gut. And Hippocrates said over 2,000 years ago that all disease starts in the gut. And guess what? Modern science has just come around to prove him right. Our gut is an entire ecosystem made up of 40,000 species of bacteria, 5 million species of fungi, and 300,000 species of parasites. This is 6 pounds of living species and over 100 trillion microbes living inside our body, all designed to be in balance to help break down our food, keep our immune system strong, fight off pathogens, and live symbiotically within us for our optimal well-being. Our body is always right, but the things we do cause it problems. So the first one is stress. Stress kills off the good bacteria and creates an imbalance in our gut. And the world is the most stressed out it's ever been. However, everyone is looking around and seeing everyone else just as stressed out and normalizing it, thinking it's okay. But trust me, it's not. So type in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10. Where do you think your average stress level is? 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. Just pop that in the chat. I'm seeing some 7s, and what's interesting, there's a 3 from Kay, 3, 4s, 6s. So what's interesting is we also are notorious at underestimating our stress levels as well. So I was one of those stressed out people back in my corporate days, and it seemed that every time I went on vacation, I'd get sick. Why? Well, because I was working my butt off to get ready to go on vacation, long hours, high stress. And then when I left for vacation, I'd come down with something, usually a cold or sinus infection, that would inhibit my ability to fully enjoy my holiday. Anybody else relate to this? Put your hand up. If you're going on vacation and you get sick, it happens a lot, right? And then I would heal fairly quickly because I was on vacation and less stressed. And then now I'm right back at work after the vacation, working really hard to catch up again, wondering if the vacation was even worth it in the first place. There are also studies that show that elite athletes as fit as they are, get sick more often than people who are not elite athletes. And it makes sense from the stress factor because they are basically overtraining their body and have it in a stress state of performance all the time. And as a result, their immune system is negatively impacted and they tend to get more sick than that athlete that isn't at the elite level. So number 2 is sleep. Sleep is absolutely critical for our health. And when we don't get enough, we are weakening our immune system because that is also killing off good bacteria. How many of you are getting less than 6 hours of sleep a night? Type a 6 in the chat if you're getting 6 hours or less every night. I'm not seeing any, so maybe all of you are getting enough sleep, but there's an awful lot of people out there who are surviving on 6 hours or less. I'm seeing a couple coming in. So this is weakening your immune system. And there was testing done on groups of people where one group of people were allowed to sleep for 6 hours a night for 1 week, and the other group was allowed to sleep for 8 hours a night for 1 week. And what they discovered was distorted activity in 711 genes between the two groups. The group that only got 6 hours of sleep, they had half of the activity was up and half of that gene activity was down. The problem is the half that was down was all of their immune fighting genes. And the half that was up with more activity was the tumor inducing and inflammation and stress genes. And then as a result, cardiovascular activity. So none of the things that we want. And that was just the difference between 6 and 8 hours of sleep for 1 week. Adults 45 and older who sleep less than 6 hours per night increase their risk of heart attack and stroke by 200% compared to those who have 8 hours of sleep per night. So that's massive. And we actually see that every single year with daylight savings. When we go on daylight savings in spring and we lose 1 hour of sleep, hospitals report a 24% increase in heart attacks the next day. That's massive. And that's 1 hour of sleep. And in the fall, when we go off daylight savings and we gain back that hour of sleep, hospitals actually report a 21% decrease in the number of heart attacks because we got that extra hour of sleep. So our sleep is directly correlated to our health. Another interesting fact is that if you only are getting 4 hours of sleep per night, studies show a 70% reduction in cancer killer cells after just 1 night. So we've all done that at some point in our life, but hopefully we're not making a habit of it because we have cancer cells in our body, we have cancer killer cells in our body. And I don't know about you, but I want my cancer killer cells to win that battle. So there's people out there who tell me I'll sleep when I'm dead and sleep is overrated and all of those things. And it absolutely is not. Sleep is critical to your health. The third factor, that habit that you may have that's weakening your immune system, and you may have already known about sleep and you may have already known about stress, but this one you may not realize the correlation, and that's hydration. The body needs water, good quality water, not water loaded with toxins such as chlorine, fluoride, heavy metals, etc., arsenic that can be found in tap water. Use a good water filtration system in your home and make sure that if you're drinking water out of a water bottle that it's stainless steel or glass, because plastic water bottles can leach toxins into that water as well. So we need good hydration. We want that hydration to be at room temperature or warmer because the body better absorbs it. And are you hydrating enough? Type in the chat what percentage of body weight you should be drinking every day. Does anyone have any ideas? Seeing some answers there. I'm seeing 50% and half. So yeah, that's awesome. So you want to be drinking 50%. And what that means is if you weigh 150 pounds, 50% of that is 75 pounds. You should be drinking 75 ounces of water, which is almost 10 cups. Now, that's going to change as well if you're in a hot or humid climate, or if you're exercising more, then you have to factor all of that in. But your baseline is 50%. And we classically underhydrate. And when we do, and our body becomes chronically dehydrated, it has to take water from other parts of the body. This can lead to headaches, chronic pain, constipation, allergies, and a variety of other health issues. So type a yes in the chat if you experience any of those symptoms on a regular basis. And remember that if you do, it's your body talking to you, asking you to do something differently. And in this case, it could literally be as simple as increasing your hydration level. And yes, I'm seeing some yeses in the chat there. And I also want to ask you, what type of drinks count as good hydration for your body? Do you know? Because I'm going to have to be a party pooper here and tell you that it's not the glass of wine and it's not the beer that you're finishing your day with at the end of the day. Yes, I'm seeing water from most of you here. So water is our best form of hydration. And if you find water boring, you can add the juice of half a lime or half a lemon. They've got really good electrolytes in them. Herbal teas. I always have my herbal tea on the go here. This is a curcumin one. So many different flavors of herbal tea. And that's what counts towards the 50% of your body weight in terms of what you're drinking. Your coffee in the morning doesn't count. Your wine and beer at the end of the day don't count. Another one that can count is coconut water, which is very high in electrolytes, but you want to be making sure that you're not overdoing that because it's high in natural sugars. And it's also very hard to find it without any added sugar. So you really got to look for that. But that's not something I want you drinking all of your water, but you could have one of those a day that would contribute towards your water. The fourth habit is staying indoors. We are spending too much time indoors and missing out on the protective and healing benefits of sunshine and fresh air. And as such, you are missing out on the benefits of vitamin D from the sun and grounding. And we're going to come back and talk a lot more about vitamin D towards the end. But if you're staying indoors, your indoor environment may come with indoor toxins such as mold, chemical toxins that can be harmful to your immune health. And for the past 18 months, of course, this has become a bigger problem than ever with lockdowns and then less socializing. But you still need to be getting outside, getting for a walk, getting out and breathing fresh air. And where all of you are, your weather is probably not what a few of us are having here in BC, which is an atmospheric river, which means I don't remember the last time it stopped raining. So I just have to have the window open because it's so torrential that I'm not actually going outside. But I have the window open. And then even if you live in the sun belt, you might think, oh, I'm in the sun belt, I get enough vitamin D. But do you really? Because how much time are you spending outdoors versus indoor on Zoom these days, right? And if you live in Canada and you don't supplement, guaranteed you are vitamin D deficient. And we'll come back and talk about that too. And that's simply because in Canada, we're so far north, we don't have enough hours of sunshine for enough days of the year with us having enough skin exposed to actually absorb it. So supplementing with vitamin D is really important. And I just want to ask in the chat, how many of you are already supplementing with vitamin D? You can answer that in the chat. I'm seeing some nods as well, which is awesome. And we will come back and talk about that more. The fifth habit is eating too much sugar and carbs. So processed sugar is toxic to the human body in high doses. And it actually depletes the body's stores of vitamin C and zinc and glutathione. The molecular structure of vitamin C and sugar is very similar. And because we use glucose for energy, the body can easily get the glucose into our cells, but in the process, it's blocking vitamin C from getting in. And that weakens our immune system if we become deficient in vitamin C. So when we overeat sugar, we create a deficiency in vitamin C. And this happens all too easily these days because, unfortunately, sugar is in everything. Plus, our cancer cells have 15 times the sugar receptors than our healthy cells. So the sugar is literally feeding our cancer cells, which none of us want. I don't think anybody woke up this morning and said, hey, I hope to get diagnosed with a disease today. None of you did. That's why you're here. You want to know how not to have that happen. So let's talk some solutions. Create time in every day to practice self-care and lower your stress. Schedule it into your calendar, even if it's only in 15-minute increments to start off with. I know life is busy, but my favorite mantra is that self-care is the most selfless act because it allows you to show up and give the world the best of you instead of what's left of you. As you notice the benefits of just starting in 15-minute increments, you will find yourself feeling less stressed. And a stressed out mind gets stuck in overwhelm. It can't focus. And so you're not productive. As you increase your self-care and lower your stress, you will become more productive. And that gives you more time in your day to build on your self-care time and increase it to 30 minutes and then hour increments. Ensure you are sleeping 7 to 9 hours every night. We just aren't taught the importance of sleep. And as such, it gets squeezed out as life gets busy. I'll get one more thing done and then I'll go to bed. I encourage you to plan your day around your sleep. Plan that 7 to 9 hours. What time do you have to get up, and back up the time that you're going to bed so that you're getting that 7 to 9 hours in. More sleep leaves you more stress resilient, which allows you to be more productive, and that allows you more time to look after yourself. So these two go hand in hand. Will result in you feeling emotionally and mentally stronger while also boosting your immune system. And remember to hydrate. There's jugs or water bottles of Nalgene water bottles that have markers on them. And in fact, a friend of mine bought one on Amazon that had the hours of the day on it. So if this is a new habit for you, I see you showing me, Denise, the size of your mug. There's a Nalgene-like bottle on Amazon, which has the hours of the day on it. So you fill it to the top, and then by 10 o'clock, you have to have drunk this much, and by noon, this much, and by 2 p.m., this much. So you know if you're on track to getting caught up, et cetera, with your hydration. So to create the habit, that might be a really great tool for you. And these are all things that you can start today. And then, as I said, sugar is in everything. So reading labels is really important. And choosing nutrient-dense meals is really important because that helps you cut back on sugar, because you are satiated between meals and you're not reaching for those quick energy snacks between meals as your energy lags. With better sleep, you'll wake up feeling refreshed and your body just won't be demanding more energy because it has the energy that it needs from sleep. Pay attention to what you're drinking, because there's a lot of sugar hidden in our drinks. Energy drinks. If you're getting coffees and teas at local coffee shops, how much sugar is going into that? And even fruit juices, very high in sugar. Yes, natural sugars for the ones with no added sugar, but I would rather you eat the fruit, which has the fiber with it as well, rather than just drinking the juice. And lastly, check your poop. I know it's crazy to talk about poop, but I talk about my poop with my clients every single day because it's such a clue to our health and our immune system. There are so many people struggling with diarrhea and constipation. Both are signs of an unhappy gut and an unhappy immune system. If you're constipated, it's a sign that you're lacking fiber and that you aren't hydrating enough. If you have diarrhea, this is a sign that your body is trying to expel a pathogen, but you're also losing a lot of fluid in the process. So you have to make sure that you're getting that fluid back in to replace it. And if it's been going on for a while, this can leave you nutrient deficient. And you need to actually address the issue because it isn't going to resolve itself. And your body needs support in healing. And we have to replace those vitamins and minerals. The color of your poop matters too. If it's green, yellow, black, white, or red, that's an indication of a bigger problem, which is going to be impacting your immune system. And again, you want to look into this. So we're going to pop into breakout rooms. Lauren's already set that up. We're going to have 3 minutes. We're going to go into the breakout rooms in pairs, and you're going to introduce yourself to your partner for like 30 seconds each, and then share with your partner one step that you can take, one habit you can change today of those 5 habits I talked about: stress, sleep, hydration, fresh air, and then sugar, carbs. What's one step that you can start immediately to improve so that you are no longer weakening your immune system unknowingly. So I'll let you send everyone away to the breakout rooms, Lauren, and then we will come back in 3 minutes.
Melissa, we have one person who's by herself. Would you like me to run in there?
Sure. Yeah, that would be awesome. And then you'll come back?
Yes, I'll come back. Aisha, did you see the
I wonder if Kate and Aisha are away from their computers. Oh, Kate's there.
Okay, Kate,
Aisha, can you hop in? I wonder if Aisha's multitasking right now.
Well, I'll watch because.
So is there still one person by themselves?
No, it was
okay.
Aisha.
Okay.
So
we'll see if she pops back.
Exactly.
She runs events too, so she might be multitasking right now.
Got it. Well, that's what's good, is that so it's good. So far, very, very easy going. So
awesome. I'm looking at the time though. Where does time go? I did this so many times.
Fast. Oh my God.
I know.
Amazing. But the information is unbelievable too. So
oh, awesome. Thank you.
Everybody's gaining a lot. So that's good. So well, it looks like I'll just hang out here.
Yeah. Do you have one habit that you would like to?
Yeah, I want to get outside more. That's what I need to. One of the big ones. But and also I'm focusing on the water. When I dehydrate, I get really lightheaded and nauseous and all those things. So I've been upping my water intake to make it more appropriate to what I need.
Awesome. And it was Karen who told me about
but I know that
her water bottle. So yeah, you could buy that.
Funny. Yes, I have one. I have an old Ninja, like the Ninja jars. So I have a 32-ounce one.
Right.
So
okay.
that's what I use. I do it at least 2 or 3 times. So
awesome.
But it's good. Oh, we got like 50 seconds. We'll see. Oh, once you close the room though, that they still have time, but I'll give them 20 seconds early.
Okay.
All right, 1 second.
Oh, you're muted if you're talking to me.
I would say goodbye to Harry.
Okay. So when they come back, I'll ask a couple of people if they want to volunteer to share what they've said they're going to do. I'll just do a couple so we can keep going. And you'll have to unmute them.
That's no problem. Okay, I'm going to start to bring them back in case some of them wait, because the closing of the room, here it goes. Okay. Oh, good. They're coming right back, which is good.
Awesome. I see a few coming back.
Yes. The default on it, I totally forgot, was 60 seconds. So it's coming.
Right. So Val or Janice, would you like to unmute and share what new habit that you would like to create that you've just shared? I think you guys were in a room together. Oh, what's Val saying? Can you unmute Val, Lauren?
Trying.
There we go. Get unmuted for a sec. Here's everyone back.
Val, try again and see if you can unmute yourself.
There we go. Got it. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
first time I want to talk and I can't.
if you want to share what habit that you've just said that you would like to create or change.
Yeah, I'm thinking just realizing the stress that is in my life, just taking some time, deep breathing, moving, getting away from the work, those kinds of things. So that's what I'm thinking. Just chill out more often, do things that that really make me happy.
And it can be really helpful to set a timer on your phone too, to remind you to do that as you create the habit, right? So maybe it's every hour, maybe it's every 90 minutes that your timer goes off, just to get up and move and breathe for 2 minutes and reset and sit back down.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else that would like to share a new habit? That put your hand up and Lauren can unmute you. Denise, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's, you won't be surprised, it's going to bed earlier.
Sleep. And I can see Diane in the window right next to you laughing.
But the funny
I know
thing is
that's
that
her thing.
I sleep well. Like once I'm in bed, I will sleep like a log. Like I
Right.
don't move, I could be like on my side and not move the whole night. But if I go to bed at 10:30, well, I'm losing an hour and a half of sleep because I wake up around the same time. So,
Right.
and when you were saying that last email that ended up being an hour and a half on the computer, that was me this week. And tonight I have to be in bed at 8 o'clock because I can feel it after a couple days of sleeping less than 7 hours. It's just like, I can feel it in the
Exactly.
body. Like today
Yeah.
I feel drained more than I've been to the week. So I was like, tonight, no question. Especially I'm working out with Sart tomorrow morning at 7, so I need to sleep.
There you go. So yes, sleep is so important. Is there any one other person that would like to share? Put your hand up and Lauren can unmute you. Any other habits? No? Okay, well, we will keep going. So now I'm going to talk about problem number 2. Why is it so important to empty your overflowing trash cans? And no, I'm not talking about the ones you put out on the street. I'm talking about your liver and kidneys that get bogged down due to our modern life. Toxins are impacting the health of our microbiome and therefore our immune system. And eating food, even organic food, drinking tap water, as I've already mentioned, using lotions on our skin, just being outside in cities and having traffic buzzing past us and exhaust fumes getting on our body results in toxins getting inside. But we can't see them, so we aren't aware of this. But a lifetime of eating and having toxins coming in leads me to ask you this question. Are your trash cans overflowing? And ladies, how many personal care products do you use every day? Did you know that the average person puts over 200 toxins on their skin using a multitude of products every morning before heading to work? And I'm just going to share my screen with you here to show you this graphic because I think it's really powerful. That look at where all these toxins are hidden and we're using them. And do you know how long it takes for these toxins to get into your bloodstream? It's 26 seconds, which is crazy. And as I said earlier, when I talk about overflowing trash cans, I'm meaning your liver and kidneys. So what is bogging down your liver and filling up your trash cans? You can see from this chart all of the different things that our liver is having to process. And our liver is charged with over 500 chemical reactions, cleansing our blood every 6 minutes and trying to keep our body pure and clean. But with 144,000 man-made chemicals introduced since World War II, it is struggling to keep up. And on top of that, we have deficient soil systems. So you'll see in the bottom left, soil deficient in key detox minerals. This results in the minerals not getting into our food because it's not in our soil. And when it's not in our food, it's not getting into our body. And so our liver is actually overburdened and undernourished at the same time. So when our liver can't do its job properly, it's unable to cleanse the toxins out of our body as it should. And it will then try to protect our bloodstream, and it will store excess toxins in our adipose tissue or our fat cells. And so if you liken that to garbage left out on the street during a garbage strike, it starts to smell and putrefy, and it just becomes gross. And this is what's happening inside our body when our body can't get the toxins out. And the reality is that 90 to 95% of all diseases are the result of the environment you create inside your body. This is coming back to what Hippocrates said about all disease starting in the gut. We used to think it was our genes that dictated our health outcomes. But the science of epigenetics says that it's our genes plus the environment we create inside our body that dictates our health outcomes. And the weighting of this environment we create inside our body is 90 to 95% of that equation, which is really powerful because it gives you the power to choose to create a body that is inhospitable to disease. So we need to get the toxins out. And we look around and we see all of this chronic illness out there today. And these are lifestyle diseases. And we can change these health outcomes by getting the toxins out. Toxins slow the production of glutathione, which is a powerful health-giving molecule that 86% of North Americans are deficient in. And it's much needed to help our immune system fight the health-damaging oxidation effects of these toxins. So what is the solution here? It is creating a practice of helping your body detox. We can no longer just rely on our body doing it by itself. And it's interesting because in other cultures, Ayurvedic medicine, Latin American cultures, Asian cultures, they still detox to this day. And it's only in the Western world where we believe that having a shower and washing our outer body is good enough for optimal health and hygiene. But it really isn't. We have to cleanse our inner body as well. And you probably know that your body naturally detoxes overnight, which is another reason why getting enough sleep is really important. But if the liver is bogged down and it can't do that well and it's struggling, it can be overworking. And some of you who may be waking up between 1 and 3 a.m., which is the time that the liver is really trying to do its work, it could be because your liver is struggling to deal with this high load of toxins. So what else can we do? We can be eating detoxifying foods, foods that are full of antioxidants and our cancer-fighting friends. Using infrared saunas to help your body detox as it pushes the toxins out via sweat. And you might be thinking, well, where am I going to get an infrared sauna? Actually, there's a new infrared sauna blanket out, which I've actually just purchased for myself. And it's totally portable. I slide it under my bed when I'm not using it. And if you want to check that out, it's on my website underneath resources and then my recommendations. It's a brand by Higher Dose. And that's an excellent way that you can end your day with some de-stress, some self-care, getting off screens before going to sleep, detoxing, and jumping in the shower for a daily practice of detoxing. You can also start fasting and allowing your body to get into a state of autophagy or deep cleaning mode because digestion is turned off long enough that the body can actually clean itself. So a functional medicine liver detox program is perfect for this because it touches on all these aspects of detoxing. And the key is not to just buy any old detox over at the grocery store. That might clean off the top layer of the overflowing garbage bin, but then the garbage bin is still full. We want to do a full detox that will actually empty that garbage bin, support phase 2 of the detoxification process by adding back in the nutrients that are lacking in our soils, etc. And doing a detox like this will have you feeling better in just a matter of days, because honestly, when we create the environment for the body to heal, it starts healing right away. It wants to heal. We just have to get it back to a place where it can heal. So part of this is intermittent fasting. And I would love for you, I'm going to stop sharing again so I can see the chat. I would love for you to type in the chat how many of you are already intermittent fasting on a regular basis. Just type yes in the chat, because I know that's a hot topic these days. And it's something that I do recommend. Everybody can intermittent fast overnight. But I do want to caution you that really women, especially, we want to stick to a 12 to a 14-hour window, because when we start to go longer than that and we're starting our day and needing energy for workouts, for work, etc., if we go too long, we start to trigger cortisol. We start to trigger our nervous system to go into that fight or flight state. And then that can mess with hormones and mess with our thyroid. But if you keep it to a 12 to 14-hour window, that's awesome. So I see some of you are already doing that, which is awesome. And that's absolutely something that you can do every single day. And it's giving our body longer to be able to detox overnight and move those toxins into our lymphatic drainage tissue. And then in addition to intermittent fasting, we also put the body into a state of autophagy for 2 days when we do a functional medicine detox. And what that is doing is that's allowing our deep cleaners to come out and do their work, because digestion is turned off for long enough that our little cleaners can actually do their work. So when we're constantly putting food in our mouth every few hours, and let's face it, during COVID, working from home, the fridge is right there. It's so easy, right? And we end up grazing, and the body never gets out of digestion. And it can't be in digestion and deep cleaning mode at the same time. It's one or the other. And if we've put food in, that's automatically turning on digestion, which will trump deep cleaning mode every single time. So a detox with meal replacement shakes that gives your body the nutrients it needs while allowing autophagy to take place is key to helping you truly empty those trash cans. And you won't go hungry because your body is getting the nutrients that it needs. And the program's designed for you to be able to do it in your everyday life. You don't have to take vacation in order to do this detox like you might if you were to do a water fast that leaves you completely depleted at the end of day 2 with no energy. So I promise you can do it within your everyday life. So I'm going to ask Lauren to start a poll. This is a really quick one with just 3 quick questions to go over what I've just talked about a little bit. And if you can all answer that and just see what the results are. That's awesome. Lauren, if you want to end it, we can just share those results there very quickly with everyone. So can everyone see my screen now? I haven't done a poll before, so nod your head if you can see the screen with the results. Yep. So the gurgling in our stomach is actually a sign of our little cleaners coming out to play. That's the noise that they make as they start cleaning your intestinal tract, which they want to keep really clean and pure. And yet many of us associate it with a sign of hunger. I love celebrating my little cleaners coming out to play because it means it's been long enough since I ate that digestion has completely finished and now my body gets time to clean. And so I don't rush to put food in my mouth thinking I'm hungry. I actually give it another hour to let my cleaners do their work before eating. And then, yes, some of you know your toxic load score and some of you don't. And don't worry, those of you who don't, you will after you do the quiz at the end of the session. I just wanted to see how many of you were already aware of that. And then, have you ever done a functional medicine detox? So one of you has, most of you haven't. And I would love to introduce you to that as just part of your health journey and creating that body that is inhospitable to disease. And I'm constantly amazed at the feedback that I get from clients who do this program. I had one client who said after 3 days, oh my goodness, I haven't had any gut issues for 3 days, which is unheard of for me. I had another client after a week who said, I knew that I had inflammation because I had so much joint pain, but I didn't know that it could go away so quickly in just a week. And then another one is, I don't need an afternoon nap anymore. And I was really surprised to find out how many adults are napping in the middle of the day. And when we detox, we create that new energy with new cells, etc. We're changing the way we're eating and we can get through our day. It isn't normal for adults to be napping every single day. That's a symptom of something else that you want to look into. So as I've said, we really want to detox our insides, lower our inflammation, and achieve optimal health of our body and our immune system. And this is absolutely a critical piece that hasn't been taught, that we just aren't aware of in the Western world. So I have another poll for you, and this one is just talking about some symptoms that you may feel. So I'll ask Lauren to start that poll, and you guys can all answer that one. This is a multiple choice, so you can answer as many questions as apply. So again, we so often accept symptoms as genetics, seasonal allergies, aging, we tolerate them. They're not triggering us to take action. But just going through these, click off the ones that apply to you. They're all very, very common. So I'll get you to end that as well, Lauren. So there's lots going on here between headaches, nasal congestion, dark circles, fatigue upon waking, difficulty sleeping, difficulty losing weight, gaining weight, pain in joints, etc. These are all really common signs that your body is struggling with a toxic load. And some of those are questions in the quiz, and they are really a clue to your overall immune health. But the great news is that you can do something about this. You can get these toxins out and create a body that is inhospitable to disease and have a strong immune system. These are not normal signs of aging. So I'm going to now move into problem number 3, and put your hand up if you relate to this. So as I've talked about, we can have nutritional deficiencies because of our depleted soils, because of what's going on in our gut. Our digestive system isn't working properly, breaking down food. We may have diarrhea, we may have constipation. And then you're not sure what supplements are best to support your immune system. Or maybe there's too many options and it's hard to know what to do, so you do nothing. Is that anybody relate to these things? That sometimes it can be really hard to figure out how can you best be supporting your immune system. You go into a health food store, see the shelves packed with vitamins, minerals, adaptogens, elixirs, oils, and more, and have no idea where to start. Type a yes in the chat if that's you. And no problem, because you're here today, and this is definitely an area where I can support you. Knowing that you're getting good quality supplements is really important, because we want supplements that the body can easily absorb the ingredients, and that there's enough of each ingredient for your body to do something with. In the cheaper supplements, again, where people are going for profit, they're just putting in the bare minimum amount in order to write that ingredient on the label, or the cheaper form that the body can't absorb well. And so sometimes you are paying for supplements that aren't doing much for you, and then that gives supplements a bad name. So if you want to know more about supplements, that's something else you can write down on your question sheet, and we can talk about on our one-to-one call. But let's also talk about food, immune boosting foods. So I've got a list here of the top 8 immune boosting foods that you can write down. I'll read it slowly so you can write it down. So lemons and limes. And I talked about lemons and limes earlier, and taking the juice of half a lemon or half a lime and adding it to your water, because it's really good electrolytes. So that's something super easy to do. Bone broth, garlic, mushrooms, reishi mushrooms in particular, olive oil, ginger, apple cider vinegar, and onions. How many of these foods are you eating on a daily basis? You can type that in the chat. I know for me, I'm getting in 7 of the 8 on a daily basis. And it's just become a habit, right? We learn this, we take the information away, we start building it into our days and create that habit. So Lauren, you're getting 3 of them in, Patrick, 3 as well. So you all have that list now, and you can start thinking about where can you add more of these into your cooking. Valbir's at 4. That's a great start, but it isn't the only answer, simply because of those nutrient deplete soils. And I'm going to share another slide with you here that shows how deplete our soils have become. If I can get the slide to advance. No, it went too far. Here we go. So you can see that slide there, and that's from 1950 to 2000. So it's already 20 years old, but even the stat beyond that is that if you were to compare the nutrients of vitamin C from one orange that somebody ate back in the 1940s and get the same nutrients level now, you'd have to eat 9 oranges. And nobody does that, right? So we do need to be supplementing in order to give our body what it truly needs to boost our immune system. And here's a really easy and powerful immune boosting protocol. Vitamin D, which I've already mentioned, vitamin C, which I talked about, and remember sugar negatively impacts the body to have enough vitamin C, and zinc, and again, sugar impacts that as well. So the timing of taking these supplements is also important. You need to take vitamin C with the zinc in order to help the zinc get into the cells that need it. And it's best to take zinc in the evening. Zinc deficiency is very common, and it's a foundational mineral and one of the best to be boosting and balancing out a tired and overstimulated immune system. And zinc deficiency is commonly caused by leaky gut, medication use like ibuprofen, Tylenol, acid blockers, antibiotics, poor diet that's high in sugar. We already talked about that. And then blood sugar imbalances that result from that, as well as chronic stress and high toxin exposure. So supplementing back with that zinc for all of those reasons is really important. You'll also want to take your vitamin D in the morning, as it will give you an energy boost. And it is fat soluble. So you want to be taking it with a little bit of fat in your breakfast, or with a bit of coconut oil or avocado in your mouth. And I like the drops, and I literally stand in front of the mirror and I count my 5 drops under my tongue and swallow that with a bit of coconut oil or avocado. And then vitamin C is water soluble. And so we use that up quickly. And so it's best taken in divided doses through the day. So you can take it at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you can't OD on vitamin C. If you have too much, it could cause loose stool. But if you're coming down with something, you can literally take vitamin C, 1,000 milligrams, every half hour to just help your body kick in and fight that a little bit more. And it truly works. And when you have a loose stool, then you're like, okay, my body's had all it needs. And the next day, you're just going to take a little bit less until you get through that period of thinking you're coming down with something and then get beyond it without ever getting sick. And then vitamin D is particularly important right now during this pandemic, as research is showing that it is a key nutrient that is keeping you out of ICU if you were to contract COVID-19. And I'm going to share this slide with you to show that, because it's a very powerful slide. So the green, so on the left-hand side of this chart, it's showing standard COVID-19 protocol treatment. And the right-hand side is showing the standard treatment with vitamin D. On the left-hand side, 50% of the people do not get admitted to ICU in the green. But the blue section, 42% are being admitted to ICU with COVID. And then 8% are unfortunately dying. But on the right-hand side, when all they do is add vitamin D, 98% of the people do not need to be admitted to ICU. And 2% are admitted to ICU, and nobody dies. So do you know your vitamin D level? Type that in the chat if you do. And the reason that's so important is this chart. And this is from a year ago. This is from October 2020 when they knew this. That you can see that at the top left, people who are extremely vitamin D deficient, I'm trying to move my bar out of the way, sorry, are unfortunately, so if their vitamin D levels are, 17, 18, 19, they have a really high risk of dying from COVID. But once we get to the levels of 28, 29, we start seeing that drop quite significantly. And by the time we're getting to 34, 35, that risk of dying from COVID is basically nothing, nil. And so vitamin D is really, really important in today's world with this pandemic. And it's very cheap and it's easy to supplement with. And what's interesting is, according to the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, again, published in 2020, 82.2% of all COVID patients are deficient in vitamin D. So when we just supplement with vitamin D, we are significantly changing our risk when it comes to this pandemic. So I do want to add at this point, because I've just talked a lot about supplements here, that if you are already taking other medications, you do need to check with your pharmacist first to ensure there's no contraindication between taking vitamin D, vitamin C, and zinc with those medications. I'm not providing medical advice here. I'm simply providing you education to help protect yourself. And the pharmacist will be able to help you with that. And in all honesty, a lot of medications actually cause deficiencies in nutrients, critical vitamins and minerals. And so when we are on other medications, we also want to be talking to our pharmacist about what is this causing me to be deficient in and how can I support that as well. Immune boosting foods and the supplement protocol are great add-ons, but here's the key. If you don't first remove the toxins, these good nutrients have a hard time getting to the cells to boost your immune system. You need to first detox to clear the pathways and boost your digestive system so it can break down the nutrients from the foods that can boost your immune system. Think about putting a piece of garbage on the top of a garbage bin. Where does it land? Plop. It falls to the side, right? It doesn't get where we want it to go. And the same thing happens in your body, that you can be putting good nutrients in, but if it's toxic already, it's just getting in the mix mash of that, and not enough of it is getting to the cells that truly need it in order to make a difference. And I just want to share with you too, that if you want to take this all a step further and figure out, what are your mineral levels, what are your vitamin D levels, etc., that the blue slide on the right is a lab test that I can run for you that will show all of your mineral levels and are you deficient or not. And it shows the balances so we can balance them out for you. And when we're under high stress, we burn through our minerals and it can leave us depleted. And so then we need to know that so we can support the body in coming back into a place of balance with optimal mineral levels. On the left is a lab test that I run for food sensitivities. When we're eating foods that our body can't cope with well, it's causing inflammation in the body. And we invariably don't know it because the symptoms don't show up for about 72 hours. Well, 72 hours later, you probably don't remember what you ate 3 days ago. So it's really hard to nail down the foods that are causing you problems. But running a lab test that shows 190 different foods will give you a really good answer. So I just wanted to share with you that that's possible, because in many cases, people just don't realize that we have the capability to run these kind of lab tests. And when we know what foods are bothering us, we can choose to eat them less often. So remember, your immune system is like a muscle. Are you ready to take action to ensuring yours gets stronger? I'm one of 3 integrative health practitioners in Western Canada, one of 20 in all of Canada, but it doesn't matter where I am or where you are because my business is 100% virtual. The lab tests get mailed to your house for you to do in the comfort of your own home, and then you mail them back to the lab. And once I get the results, I review them with you, provide a personalized wellness protocol, and guide you on your healing journey. I don't just tell you what you should do and let you go and do it, because we know that doesn't work. I hold your hand and show you every step of the way. So all of those questions you've been writing down today, now is your time to click on the link that Lauren's going to drop in the chat, book your call with me. You can write the questions right into the booking so that I have them and I'm prepared before our call to make the most of our time together. And so Lauren is dropping that in the chat. I would love every single one of you to book that call. It's part of this workshop. I'm sure you have questions and I would love to answer them for you. You see, everyone is different. You're in a different state of health now, and your questions will be different. And so that's why working one-to-one through a call will get those questions answered for you. And then Lauren's also going to drop the link to my Discover Your Toxic Load quiz so you can see, where am I at today? How toxic am I? And what can I be doing about that? So let me ask you this. Without your health, what else do you have? Do you really want to leave here with your toxic load and do nothing? Is that a risk you want to take? Choose to create a body that is inhospitable to disease by clearing out your toxins and boosting your immune system. You don't have to be at the whim of your immune system. You can take charge of it and strengthen it starting today. And I just want to finish with this quote. If you have not consciously made the decision to be rich, excellent, and healthy, then you have unconsciously made the decision to be poor, mediocre, and unhealthy. And that's by Wallace Wattles. So thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I'm sorry I went over by about 10 minutes, but I hope that information was really valuable for you. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to having a one-to-one chat with every single one of you here. So thank you again for your time, and we will chat very soon. Thank you, everyone.